Hey, what's up, guys? It's Eric, EJD715, once again for the VC. I told you guys I'd be uploading another video after my last update, and here we are. It's like 2 hours later. Had a couple beers. I'm not drunk or anything, but just having a good time here in the man cave. I'm listening to an album I showed in the last video. It's kind of a grail, I guess. Jeff Beck's Guitar Shop. Came out in 1989. I remember my dad bought this on cassette back in '89. This is a really nice copy. It's got slight ring wear on the top there, but other than that, it's nice. It sounds awesome. The first track with all the weird sounds going on, it was pretty awesome back there. Let's see. Okay, so this video is, I finally made 100 subs. Woohoo! I actually made 100 subs right before my wedding, but I was too busy to post a video at that time. So here we are. I'm like at 100 and let's check. Give me 1 sec. My channel. Let's see. I'm at like 110, I think. 106 subs. So here we are. 100 subs. Woo! Okay. I'm gonna make this really easy. My subs. This contest can be really easy. Here's your prize. If you don't like this prize, let me know. I think it's an awesome prize, but I know not everybody's a prog fan. Most people that I'm friends with here on the VC are prog fans, but I know a lot of people haven't heard of this guy band. Anyways, I'll get to it. If you like Porcupine Tree, of course you like Steven Wilson. This is his newest album, Hand Cannot Erase. Came out 3 weeks ago. It's a sealed copy. I ordered 2 of them. It's coming apart. The thing came apart there, but it's still sealed. It's never been played. So winner will get this. If you really, really, really don't want this, which is an amazing record, it's a $36 record too, I may add. I'll get you a $35 gift card to Amazon. So this contest is really simple. You have till May 15th to do this, so that gives you a month and a half to do a video. I want you to tell me who are your 5 favorite guitar players and why. Give a story about if you met somebody, if you saw them live and were blown away. Just the reasons why. I'm a guitar player, as you know. There's my guitar collection right there. I got 2 Les Pauls right there and there. A Schecter, a Charvel, and a Fender Strat. So I mean, I'm quite the guitar guy. I don't play as much as I used to, or as I should, but I've been playing for 23 years now. Okay, so I'm gonna tell you my 5 favorite guitar players. I didn't give this much thought. I know my number 1. I know my number 2. Just give me a sec. Yeah, okay, I got this. I got it. Okay. I'll start with number 5. George Lynch. George Lynch to me has like probably the greatest lead tone I've ever heard. His vibrato is ridiculous, but then you watch him play and he kind of has a weird technique. He's weird vibrato. He does the slide vibrato, which I don't. Not many guitar players do that. Oh, okay. I'll mention that in a second again, because there's another guy on my list that actually does the same thing. But no, he did like if you ever watched the video for In My Dreams, he does like this weird slide, like it's vibrato, like he would be like vibratoing like this, but he does like a slide on the neck, like a 2-fret slide, and it makes it sound like a vibrato. But he's really weird fingering. His fingers are almost straight. And like most guitar players, you gotta keep your fingers arched, you know. But George Lynch, his tone is unbelievable. Unbelievable tone. And his vibrato is crazy too. Even like not the slide vibrato, but his regular vibrato is awesome. And that brings me to number 4, which is a very close in terms of style. I think it's a little bit better of a guitar player than George Lynch. That's Warren DeMartini. The first 4 Rat albums are just really not okay. First 3 Rat albums are unbelievable. The second 2 after that are good. Those first 3, the guitar playing those albums are just monstrous. Again, Warren DeMartini's kind of came from the same school as George Lynch. He kind of has that slide, but he also does do regular vibrato. But his harmonics and his attack are just unbelievable. Just listen to any of the solos on Invasion of Your Privacy, or even on Out of the Cellar, man. They're just unbelievable. Like You're in Trouble it's so sick. Or The Morning After, his solo on that song. That's probably his definitive solo, if you ask me. The Morning After. Okay, that brings us to number 3. This one was a tough one, but I'm gonna have to go with, I don't know. Let me give. Okay. Jake E. Lee. Jake E. Lee is probably the most underrated guitar player Ozzy ever had. Even though he was on one of Ozzy's most popular and most commercially successful albums, Bark at the Moon, Jake E. Lee never seemed to get the recognition that Randy Rhoads or Zakk Wylde after him did. He had a real tough slot to follow. I mean, how do you follow up Randy Rhoads? I don't think anybody could really follow up Randy Rhoads with any type of big accolades, so to say, big fanfare. That's a tough gig. But if you listen to Bark at the Moon, something about Jake's tone. He uses that like flanged tone, and his Strat. It's like a Charvel Strat that he used. It's like a very bright, kind of cutting tone that he has. His tone is awesome. That's one thing I never liked about Randy Rhoads. I think people are probably gonna get a lot of hate mail about this, but Randy Rhoads had the worst freaking tone, at least on record. Live, he had awesome tone. Like if you listen to Tribute, his tone is awesome. But especially on Blizzard of Oz, his tone is so brittle and trebly. It's horrible. It's a little better on Diary, but still not that great. Jake's tone was so much better. Jake isn't. I'll give this. Jake is not the technically proficient guitar player that Randy was, but Jake brought like more of a bluesy kind of a thing to it. But if you watch, there's a video. It's on YouTube. It's live in Salt Lake City in 1984 at the Bark at the Moon tour. If you watch that video, Jake's solo, he does some like crap at the end, but he does like this one really cool run, actually 2 really cool runs. And I was like, whoa, that's pretty awesome. He had a really good sense of melody too. I really thought Jake had a really good sense of melody. The Ultimate Sin is actually my favorite Ozzy record. I don't know. They're both even. That's because Jake's my favorite. But I really love The Ultimate Sin as well. And his guitar playing became even more flashy on that one. A lot of people bagged that as like Ozzy's... just spit on the computer. They bagged it as Ozzy's like hair metal album. Nah. He might have had the hair pictures and images, but that's nothing but a full-on heavy metal album. And that brings us to number 2. Number 2 for me is kind of bittersweet because this guy hasn't done anything. Well, he collaborated with this band in 2004, but it was a very ill-fated collaboration. That brings me to my number 2 favorite guitar player, which is Chris DeGarmo of Queensryche. Now, Chris DeGarmo, again, he comes from kind of the same boat as... not the same boat, but his similarity to these previous guitar players is... Well, Jake E. Lee was actually very good. He had pretty good technique. Of the guitar players I mentioned so far, I think Jake... Well, no, Jake had... Of my 5, of 3 of the 5, Jake has had the best technique of the previous 2. Chris DeGarmo, number 2... He's not the most technically proficient guitar player, but he has the most unbelievable sense of melody I've probably ever heard in a guitar player, besides my number 1, which we'll get to in a second. Chris DeGarmo actually took cues and takes many cues from my number 1 guitar player. That's probably why I like these 2 so much. The thing about Chris DeGarmo that really floors me is, him and Michael Wilton in the glory days of Queensryche. They're almost like an Adrian Smith, Dave Murray kind of a matchup. Whereas one guy plays kind of flashy, fast, and one guy plays kind of bluesy, bendy, soulful kind of a feel to it. And that's what like DeGarmo really brought to the band. Early on, he's a little bit more flashy, but even between him and Michael Wilton, Wilton definitely had the more of the shredder kind of a attitude. Not saying that DeGarmo can't play fast. You listen to the solos on Eyes of a Stranger, there's some pretty fast runs on that song. But I think Chris DeGarmo's like most amazing solo he ever did was Sweet Sister Mary from Operation Mindcrime. It has the most unbelievable feel and bending. It almost wants to make me cry because it's so like passionate and soulful. I just love that solo. I just love it. And that's, of course, one of my favorite albums of all time, too, so that happens to add to the fact. But nonetheless, I mean, DeGarmo was, like... After DeGarmo left Queensryche, the band, like, the songwriting, it wasn't even close to what it was before when he was in the band. With that said, the last album, the self-titled one that came out in 2013, was good. But they're still missing that element of having him in the band. So I know Chris DeGarmo. I know all he does now is he flies airplanes. I think he flies for a commercial, like a UPS or a FedEx kind of a thing. He does commercial, not passenger planes, but freight traffic. That's my understanding. I always thought like I'd get on an airplane, he'd be like the pilot. I'd be like, oh, Chris DeGarmo, awesome. But no, that never happened because I found out later that he's a pilot for, I think for freight travel. So that brings me to my number one. My number one is also happens to be a member of my favorite band. To me, the main guy in that band too. And that brings me to number one, the great David Gilmour. The guy has the most passionate solos ever put on recorded media. What more is there to say? I mean, he's not a flashy player, but he's not. He came out in the late '60s, kind of the Hendrix era. Him and Hendrix kind of have that sense of blues. Hendrix a little bit more at that time flashy, whereas Gilmour was definitely much more slow, more of like the Eric Clapton kind of a mentality, I guess. But I think where Gilmour really came to really started to shine was either sometime between Metal and Dark Side of the Moon. So like Metal, Obscured by Clouds, Dark Side of the Moon. That's where his solos really started to become more forefront in the songs. And then after that, it was even more so. Like after Wish You Were Here. And David Gilmour's an amazing songwriter as well. So that's where I kind of see the connection between David Gilmour and Chris DeGarmo. They kind of come from the same ilk in terms of being awesome songwriters. Very, very, very melodic guitar playing. Very soulful guitar players. So they kind of have those things in common. And I've read interviews with DeGarmo from the early 90s, and he quotes Gilmour like countless times as being his main influence. So the thing is, like, before I read those interviews, I even kind of thought he got the influence even before reading those interviews. So, but yeah, those are my 5 favorite guitar players. So let's hear your guys' videos. Let's hear you guys' 5 guitar players and post a video. I want you guys to win this record. You have till May 15th. I'll just do the basic, draw the name out of a hat kind of a thing. There's only going to be one winner. So put your videos in. Thanks for watching, and I hope it'd be interesting to see what you guys put down. So thanks for watching. Cheers.